Hello everyone, greetings from Epiphania Visuals to be a part of Anuaka. I am Dipa Mahbuba Yasmin, 30 years old, an asexual and a grey aromantic cisgender woman based in Bangladesh. Till today, I have not found any fellow asexual in Bangladesh. However, gradually I am translating some of the content of Even into our native language Bangla. So I hope I will be able to find out more Bangladeshi asexuals soon. Now let's talk about Anuaka. It is the short form of Asian Network of A-Spectrum Queer Activists. In the last few years, I tried to connect with various ACE organizations in Asia and also the outside of Asia, with the intention to find out like-minded people. And I got very friendly response from some of them, and gradually this Asian network developed. As South Asian, I felt very proud to know that the most popular asexual dating app in the world has been made by my neighboring country, India. I also found some asexual medical professionals such as Dr. Pragati Singh and Dr. Manita Nawa Khadgi are also from Asia. However, communication was very low to know each other. So I decided to convert my non-formal network formally by starting this curatorial initiative Anuaka. Till now I have not been able to reach out everyone, but I hope I will do it in coming days. With today's panel discussion, we are officially announcing the opening of our annual Symposium 2020 titled Asexuality is Not a Myth. We have designed today's panel discussion with some of panelists from Pan-Pacific Asia. The main purpose of our discussion is to know about the asexual dating, love, relationship, marriage, marital rape, marriage of convenience in Asian region. So we are reporting trigger warning that the sensitive topic like agephobia, rape, sexual assault, corrective assault, etc. are going to be a part of today's discussion. I am very glad to introduce today's host and the co-curator of this symposium, Ruxmini Reckvana Choudhury. She is basically an allosexual but a true ally. Till today, she is the only person in my country who has accepted me and given me the courage to coming out. We both have held about 15 online meetings over the past year for the purpose of organizing this symposium. When we start working, we realize that there are a lot of experienced and respected ace activists in Asia, but they are working very separately. And we believe that through our effort, work on asexuality awareness in Asia will receive an impetus, and gradually many more Asian communities will be developed. Using the network chain, Asia will have the opportunity to conduct asexuality research, seminar, various events jointly in future. Without taking more of your time, I would like to announce the name of today's panelist. Raj Saxena, co-founder and producer of ASAP, a dating and social network app for asexuals. Sana Kardar on behalf of Pakistani Asexual Association. Caroline Bauer from USA, she is the founder of ACE NYC and the co-lead of the ACE community survey team. Kate Wood, a biromantic asexual and also an ace feminist activist from Canberra, Australia. Gemma Gray, asexual advocate and activist from Sydney, Australia. Meghna Mehra, asexual activist of India and the author of Marriage of Convenience. And last but not the least, Dr. Manita Nawakadgi, the founder of Nepali Asexuals ID handle. Now I would like to request Ruxmini Q. Choudhury to start our today's discussion.
Yes, thank you, Dipa. First, I have Raj Saxena, who is the co-founder and producer of Ace dating app. So, Raj, I will ask you to introduce yourself and talk about the app, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ruxmini. Am I audible to you?
Yeah, you are good.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. So, yes, as you all know, that my name is Raj, and I'm co-founder of ASAP. Apart from that, I'm running an initiative called Indian Asexuals, and we are working for asexuality in India since 2013. And we are continuously organizing different events offline and online to create more awareness about it. And I'm happy that people are supporting me within the queer space and even outside of the queer community in India. So today we are going to talk about the ASAP because they have invited me here to talk about this application which we designed and we developed in 2015 and we launched it in 2016, which I'm going to show you in through one PPT. Ruxmini, if you can give me permission to share my screen.
Yes, I have given the permission.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you see the presentation?
No, not yet. It just says you have started screen sharing. Can others see?
No, I
No,
can't.
it's
I can't
loading.
see it. No.
Okay.
No, it just shows loading.
Okay, uh, I think now you can see this.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a small PPT, and I tried to cover all the features ASAP has in it. So let me start with this logo, which you can see here, which indicates to a cake, which is in the color of asexual flag. And there is a very famous tagline in asexual community, which is known as "Cake is better than sex." So when we were thinking to develop this application, and we were looking for a logo, so uh, we designed many different types of logo for this application, and we wanted to make it more attractive, uh, more into ace color or something whom asexual community can connect with. So we started doing we ended up designing this logo, which is in the form of cake. And as you might know that ASAP is a social network platform which is dedicated to whole asexual community. And the aim of ASAP is to increase visibility of asexual as well as connect the whole asexual community together. So this application was first launched in 2016 for the users of Android, and within the 1 year we launched this application for the iOS users. From last 4 years, uh, ASAP is continuously providing its services to the asexual community, and it's totally free of cost. So the idea behind this application or to keep it free of cost is that because when I was struggling with my own identity, I remember that it was 2012, and as I belong to a very lower middle class family where I couldn't afford to, you know, get knowledge about asexuality, which is For that, I have to pay some sort of money. So when we were launching this application or we were designing this application, I was keep talking to the other co-founder that we have to keep it for free, because there might be many asexual people, not only from India, from the other parts of the globe too, who are not economically privileged, and they should also use this application, and they have right to use this platform to connect with other asexual people. So that is why we launched this application for free, and we are continuously providing our services without charging a single amount. So let me give you the short information about the founders of this application. So the first founder is Rishabh. Rishabh is my brother actually. So I came out to him in 2015, and he took 1 year, almost 1 year, to accept me, accept my sexual orientation, because I identify myself as homo romantic asexual. And when I came out to him, he was like, how can you know that you are into boys if you haven't had sex with a girl? So I asked a cross question to him. I asked like, how do you know that you are into girl if you haven't had sex with any boy? So he was he had no words to reply to me, but still I agreed to wait for a year, because I was 19 years old that time when I came out to him, and to my sister also. So they wanted me to wait for almost 1 year. So because they had this idea that this might be a hormonal disorder, or my hormones was developing late, or I was a late bloomer, which was not the case. But still I waited for 1 year, and after all like 365 days, I came back to them and I said, nothing has changed, I'm still the same person, I still feel in the same way, I still identify myself as asexual. So they both accepted me, and it was one of the happiest day for my life, because my siblings started supporting me. And later, as my brother is an Android developer, so uh, I went to him and I asked him to develop an application for the asexual people, and he agreed to do that. But I told him that this is not a business thing, and we are not going to uh, we are not going to make it a paid application. So don't think in that way. If you want to contribute to the asexual community, or you believe in me, or you support me, you should help me with this the idea. So he went to his junior and the second co-founder of this application. His name is Purushottam Rawat. Purushottam is my brother's junior, and they both studied in the same college. They both are from the same field, both are Android developers. So they started developing this application, and so these are the actual people which is behind this application, and they are controlling everything from the back end. And I'm just the mind behind it. I gave all the information about asexual spectrum, so that we can make this application more asexual friendly, and we can create a safe, secure space for asexual community. Now let's talk about the features of ASAP. So the first feature is when you will download it from the Play Store or App Store, it will ask you to sign up. And after creating your account, you just need to log in, and you can easily use this application. The first view of the application will look like this. And here you can see there are many options like profile, bake cake, active now, inbox, bookmarks, and there are other options too. We'll talk about these options in the next slides. So, and after creating your profile, it will look like this. This is a profile of Dipa, which is organizer of this event. So on the profile, you can see the name of the person, the age, username, and you can see if that person is recently active or not. You can see their type of asexuality, like Deepa mentioned, sapio-romantic asexual. You can see their gender identity, and you can read a small introduction in their bio option. Apart from that, you can see their city or their country from there they belong, so that you in future, if you are interested, you can search them with other filter options. And there's one more option known as active now. In active now section, you can simply go and check how many aces are active right now, and you can click and open their uh, profiles, and you can text them directly if you are interested to talk with them. So ASAP has similar features like any other dating application have. If you are interested in the person, you just need to swipe right. If you are not interested, you can swipe left. And there is one more feature known as type of asexuality. So whenever you are, making your profile, you are creating your account, you just need to select your type of asexuality. If we have not listed your type or your term, you can simply choose the other option and you can write it by yourself. And there is one more feature, looking for. In looking, because there are many asexual people who are already in relationship, or they are not in relationship but they don't want any sort of relationship, so they can choose chatting only, or they can choose friendship only, or you can choose three of them or two of them. So we have three options: chat, relationship, and friendship. In this option, you can choose like whether you are into one person, or you are into more than one person, or you can simply choose none or ask me. So in after that, anyone who's interested in your profile can directly text you and ask you about it. And in the setting options, we have three different option. First is show me offline. If you are busy with your work, or you don't want people to see you online, you can turn on this option or this feature. And the second is hide me from the suggestions. So if whenever you will turn on this feature, you no one will be able to see you in the active now section, and even into the bake cake option. And the third one is update location. In this feature, you can choose automatically, your GPS will choose uh, your city or your country. But if you want, you can manually put any other location to chat with people of different culture you are interested in. So for example, I belong to India, but if I'm interested in the culture of Spain, so I can manually search, manually put Spain in my option. uh, Update, I can update the location of Spain, and then application will automatically show me the profiles who belongs to Spain only. And in the help and feedback option, you can take a guide. You can read more how to use this application, how to troubleshoot, and what are the privacy policies. And you can mail us if you want to suggest us something, if you have any feedback or you are looking for any help. Or we have one more option known as talk to developers. So we are 24/7 available. So if you want to talk with developer directly, you can text us, or you can use this option. And in case you want to delete your account, you can delete your account from the last option. And the next option is filter based on your country. So if I belongs to India and I want to see people only from India, then I can choose this option. Manually, I can select India, and then the application will show me the users of, or I can say Indian users only. In this option, we have other preferences, or you can use your filter based on these preferences too. For example, I can choose my gender as male, and as I am into male only, so I will choose interested in male, and looking for relationship, friendship, or chat. If I'm looking all of these things, then I'll choose all these three options. I can set my age criteria manually. As you can see here, it's from 16 to 40 years of old men, and then I have to just update these filters, and my application or ASAP will show me uh, users according to my preferences. And now the next option is the people according to the distance. So here we have both options. First, you can choose your distance manually, or you can simply choose no distance limit, so that you can see uh, all the people who are using this application according to your preferences. And recently we added this feature into the application, and which is it is actually very interesting and very helpful feature, because people now can search the other users who identify uh, the same. For example, if I am homoromantic asexual and I want to search only homoromantic users from all over the world, so I will enable this option homoromantic, and the application will show me only these features. Now the next feature is block and report. If you are seeing any user which seems uh, fake or scammer, you can simply block that user, and you can report us too, so that we can remove the account of that user. ASAP had been featured in many online and offline media platforms, and these some here I have you know chose some screenshots of different articles, but there are many videos about ASAP on YouTube, and people are talking about it on Asexual Visibility Education Network website, and even people are talking about it on different platforms like Tumblr and Instagram or Twitter or Reddit. So there you can read more about it. So nowadays we are getting so much positive response from the people. People are, leaving this application by saying that they have found a partner for themselves, or they have found a spouse. Uh, and we are happy that we are able to give them a safe platform where they can connect with fellow asexuals. And even many people are making new friends who belongs to the asexual community, although we are getting some complaints about the creepy profiles or non-asexual people who are using this application. So we are regularly removing these profiles, and we are going to make some changes into the verification, so that we can make it more safe and more secure. And so these are the basic features which I have just told you. But apart of that, we have many other features, like we have bookmark option, where you can bookmark any profile in which you are interested. And we have search option in the text option, like you were talking to someone last month, now the chat goes down, you want to search that profile, so you can go to your message option and search by the username of that person, so your conversation will come in the search option. And apart of that, we have reset password option, where you can reset your password in case you have forgot it. And we have message notification option. So we have many other features like these. So this is the basic information about the ASAP.
Thank you so much for sharing. Raj said that he is taking. Oh, he's back. Okay.
Okay, I think my connection is not good. So, am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. So, it all started in 2012. I'll start with my own story, like how I realized myself, and then I'll come to the Indian asexual part. So, it was 2011 when I was moving in a co-ed college from all boys school, and I was so nervous because this was my first time when I was going to connect with female classmates, and I was so excited too because it was my college time, and how they picturized it in the Bollywood movies, that college life is full of fun. So I was like, oh yay, I'm in college now, so I'll have so much fun. So, but things were quite opposite. College life was very boring, and I was very much comfortable with women because they used to understand me better comparatively to men. And I was pursuing graduation. In my graduation, I had to study 4 different subjects, and for that, I had to go to take class in different departments one by one. So I had like different friends for different subjects. So everything was so good, but suddenly something happened in my family and I lost my father. So because of that, I had to join a call center of my city to support my family economically. And I wasn't aware that everything is going to change now, because I was in a team and my shift timing was 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. Of night. And uh, they were all men in my team, even because the late shift belongs to men according to the Indian mindset. So after 10, usually the call flow was very slow, and we used to get one call hardly in 5 minutes. So I noticed that there are many guys are sitting in the corner and they're using their you know a system, and they are watching something over there. So I wasn't aware what is going on. So one of my colleague asked me to go and see like whatever they are watching. So I went there and I saw that they were watching porn, which was heterosexual porn. I don't know how did they uh, cracked the password or cracked the server, but yes, it was playing over that one system, and all boys were watching that, enjoying that porn. So I was like, ooh, why you need to watch it? Like, why you guys have to have sex? Why it is important? Like, why you guys have to do these kind of intimacy? This is very it is very scary, it is very dangerous to even see. How can you perform it? So I came back to my seat, and then I logged out and I went to my home. And after a few days, when I was sitting again in a call center, and my colleague came to me, and he started talking about that day. And I said, I don't know, I'm not interested into these kind of things, and I don't want to do it. So he told me that if you're not interested into heterosexual porn, you should go and watch gay porn. So this was my first time when I encountered with this word gay. And when I came back to home, I searched this gay porn on Google, and I watched 1 or 2 videos, and my experience was as same as it was with heterosexual porn. So it made me more confused because I wasn't able to fit into heterosexual community nor into homosexual community, because that sex part was not my cup of tea. Still, it's not my cup of tea. So Then I moved to New Delhi, which is capital of India, and because I had to earn more money to support my family economically, so there I worked in an international call center, and in the environment of international call center is more better comparatively to domestic call center. And as it was New Delhi, so people were more open minded, and we had LGBTQ representation on our floor. People, men used to wear makeup at night shift, and culture was totally different. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll find something about myself in this culture. So I don't know, when I created that secret ID, which was named as Rohan Kumar, and I used that account to connect with LGBTQIA plus community people, and I joined many groups which belongs to the queer community, and I started talking to men rather than women. So I noticed that I have more attraction towards men comparatively to women. I find women attractive, but not in the romantic way. So I wasn't aware that time that there are some types of attraction there, like aesthetic, romantic, and platonic, etc. So I met three men through that application, and touch wood, I had sense. I was intelligent enough to meet those people on public places instead of meeting on the private place. So my experiences with all of them was worst. All of them directly, indirectly pressurized me to have sex with them. And so that is again a different story with each one of them. But I was so scared, and I deactivated my account, and it made me even more confused. Like, why people are into sex only? Why can't you just meet and have a simple coffee, and you can talk about the politics, or you can talk about the recent books of your favorite author, or your favorite series of online series, etc. So it was biggest turnoff for me. So I decided to, contact any queer friendly counselor who could guide me better. So I contacted one counselor. I'm not gonna take name of that person, but that person's, when I told that person that I don't find men sexually attractive. I don't want to have sex with them, but I still want to be in relationship with men. So that person told me that you might have a medical condition, or you might have a hormonal disorder. You should go and contact to the physiotherapist, or or a doctor who who can help you with these hormonal diseases. So I was like, no, I don't have any disease. I know it very well. All my body parts are functioning very well, and my all hormones are developed. I just don't want to have that part in the relationship. Otherwise, I want to live with a man. I want to spend my life with a man, but accept sex. So I came back to my room, and I was very upset. And hopefully, and fortunately, after a few days of it, I was searching and reading about the full form of LGBTQIA plus, and there I found this word A, which belongs to aromantic, agender, and asexual people. So when I read more about asexuality, I was like, fuck, this is the word which I was looking for. This suits to my feelings very much, and I was so uh, I was, in peace. I was so satisfied that finally I have one term to, tag myself, to say people that I am an asexual person. When I studied more about asexuality, I came to know that, there are many types of attractions, and there are many other terms like biromantic, homoromantic, heteromantic. So I was like, okay, so I'm not aromantic, I am asexual. I am into same gender romantically, so I'm homoromantic. So we're like, oh yeah, I have a term now.
I'm just like sharing the question Dipa was asking. So she was saying, like, we know the term the marital rape, but when you are within one relationship, rape also happens and abuse also happens. So the question she was asking, like, how to deal with it. Is there any way to prevent it, or like, what are the steps that can be taken?
Okay, if you're asking in the reference of India, so I can tell you more about it, because here we have one section which is known as 375. So in this section, marital rape is not illegal in India, and the legal age of marriage for women is 18 years, and this is the same age for consent. So, but in this section itself, in 375, they have one clause number 2, in which it is mentioned that if you are having sex with your wife, which is more than 15 years of age, so that is not a rape if that woman is your wife. So again, it is problematic because the marriage age is 18. Now you are saying that 15 years, more than 15 years old wife, so it means that you know that child marriages are still happening in India, and you are indirectly supporting it. And we have Article 14, which gives right of equality to every citizen on every level. But in this section 375, we have different rules, different set of rules for married women and single women who are not married yet. So now you are not treating them equally. So this is against this section 14. So this is what I can say. And why still Indian men are raping their wife is because uh, the central government, or because the central government is whether it's any party, whether it's BJP or Congress or any other party or any ruling party, they are a misogynist. They have very misconceptions about uh, this marital rape topic. So they usually think that if they will illegalize it, women can use this act against their husband, as they are using, in some cases they claim that they are using dowry uh, against dowry case against the men or their husband, which is they don't have data about it, but this is the argument they usually give. So this is one of the reasons why it is still not illegal in India. There was a judge of Supreme Court, Mr. Mishra. He said that Indian families run by their values, their family values. So if we will, make any law which will um, oppose marital rape, so it will hurt the sentiments or hurt the structure. It can hurt the structure of family, who are, and Indian culture, Indian values, and all these shits they believe in. So this is what I think is still not illegal in India.
So, Deepa was saying, I think this question actually goes to everyone. Like, aside from the law, if we leave out the law, because I know, like, we don't really have concrete laws, but as a community, how we can actually support each other, or how we can actually make the awareness that about this issue. So maybe that way, if anyone has any suggestions, or anyone has, like, have been dealing with that, and if we can actually, like, if we don't know, can we come up with something how we can actually um, uh, like, make awareness of this issue.
So I think that as I'm not women, so I won't be able to feel that, or I won't be able to experience that, maybe. But what if I'll get right of marriage equality in India, and I can get married to a man in India, and it will be, and I'll get legal certificate of that. And in case uh, he will rape me, or if he will force harass me or molest me to, in a sexual way, so it will also apply on me. So but I don't know whether it's illegal in India or not, that I can go out of my marriage and can have sex with other people. I think it's legal as long as you both are in consent. So, but Navish might know more about it, so I'll ask Navish to share their views on it.
So, yeah. So first, I will talk about consent. Consent is a very fine line. There's a very fine line difference between when you give your consent. So it's not manipulative, and you give it by yourself. Because when I talk about men, so I believe men on this earth are like more or less same. As I am being a feminist, I used to say all men are same, all men are trash, and this is very true. Because I'm so sorry if I offend anyone, but this is very true. Because when I talk about consent, so what I have seen, and when I go went through the counseling and have been through the maximum women, so the when they men when the boys make their girlfriends, so mostly what they need at the end of because it's a very process wise thing in India especially, that if you have made a girlfriend, then at the end of the day you will have sex, and when you can boast about it that I made 4 girlfriends in 5 years and I had sex 5 times with 5 different women. So at the so why how they will reach to that consent? So they will tell, they will won't talk to you for time, they will many time they will do a lot of emotional manipulation. They will talk fake sweet talks, like they love you, they cannot live without you, they will do anything for you, they will make fake promises, they will make fake marriages promises. And when nothing will work, because in India most of the women says if you'll marry, then we'll have sex after marriage, because the concept of virginity is also very high over here. So at the end of the day, they do not want to have sex, women do not have want to sex, and they do not give their consent because of their part of the marriage. Once the guys take control of that part, that yes, we will marry you, let's have sex, and what they will say, because girl is in love with the boy, they will say, if you won't have sex, we won't be in relationship, because I have promised I will marry you. And after this total this cycle of 4 to 5 6 months or 1 year, they agreed to have sex, and boys call it, I she has given consent. So it is very it's very means I might have not defined in a very fine way, but this is the descriptive way which you can go. It might take 1 month, or it might take 6 months or a year when you give your consent. So whenever you are giving your consent, you must be aware that you are giving the consent within the love, or with the fear of that losing that person. When it comes to that marital rape, in India there is a lot of in India there is no case of like the marital rape is like nothing. How it is very normalized that if you are married, I think it's everywhere, if you are married to a man, you have to serve sex. And in there is a book of in India, there is a Manu Smriti, it is totally misogynistic book, and it has clearly mentioned that woman has born to serve sex to their masters, men are their master. Okay. So and most the Brahmins follow it, and they used to throw it in front of the people to follow it back. So yes. And in India it is if you're going to have sex outside the marriage, and with consent you can go for it. A husband cannot ask for divorce on the basis of that. It has passed last year, I believe. So more or less they can go and have sex.
Exactly. And yes, in Indian society, women had been portrayed as property to men, and men can use their property in the way they want to use it. But uh, even in the homosexual culture, I don't want to use this word, homosexual culture, but I think I don't have any other word for it right now. But even in this homo world, they are following the same tradition where they how can I say it, like there is someone who play the role of husband, and there is another partner who's a wife in the relationship. So, and this is again very dangerous, and it I don't know why we are taking examples and why we are following the heteronormative forms even within the queer space. So this has to be changed, and this is what I call homonormative norms. So we need to talk about that also in that space, because in future if it will be legalized to get married with your same-sex partner, so they will also can face this marital rape issues.
I'll ask Navish, uh, whose good name is Deepak Kumar Bhagat, who is the co-founder of We Embrace, to speak about his association. Can you tell us a little bit about what you are doing with We Embrace? You are in mute.
Hello everyone, once again. And so when I was started working for LGBTQ community and the struggle in India in 2015, and I met many queer activists from India in Delhi and started working for the fight of the decriminalization of section 377 of our IPC. So I met many people, and I was unaware of my sexuality because in 2014 I was in a relationship for 5 years from 2010 to 2015 with a person, and it was platonic with some romantic relationship, and I was going through a breakup, so I was unaware of my asexuality as well. In 2016, I met Raj, and I was exploring my asexuality, and after meeting from Raj, I finally concluded, yes, I'm an asexual person, and we started working for Indian Asexual. Later we found that we can find asexual people and we can unite asexuals of India, but we need uh, our queer people also to understand asexuality and embrace us. So we founded that initiative, We Embrace. So the name is Embrace, and again it has ace. So two aces made it, and that's why we make is like We Embrace. Come to us, we embrace everyone. And we started meetings, which is not only for the asexual people but also for the queer people. So later we found the queer people, other LGBTQI people who are not asexual, were confused, and maximum were in gray area. Some were demisexual, some were sapiosexuals, and they were unaware of these terms. So they started knowing it, and they started accepting themselves. Later, when I was exploring my asexuality and I was sharing my views to the people, many queer people from the community couldn't understand it and they were questioned my asexuality. And one of the very eminent queer activist, he was in the part of the decriminalization of section 377 in India. I told him that I'm an asexual, and he told me, "You don't look like asexual." And I was like, okay, what should I do now then? What should I dress up and I need do should I go for a new haircut or something? I have to like make a something on my head that I'm an asexual or something. But I was like, it was my first hand experience, and I was very sad. But another people I found, they found me and they just hugged me, they embraced me. So yeah, this was why one of the second incident was like I was talking to a guy, as I'm a homo romantic asexual. So I was talking to a guy, and his house was like 40 kilometer far from my house, but we have metro. It took 1 hour to reach out, and it is very easy to travel in Delhi. So he was like, when I was explaining him about myself, and I was explaining asexuality to him, and then he was like, it was turn off for him, because he told, if I'll come to your place after traveling 40 kilometers and I couldn't reach to your pants, and we couldn't do something in bed, then what I would be there, what I'll come and do there. And like I told that we'll go for movie, we'll eat, we'll talk, we'll dance, and we'll talk a lot. I have written so much poetries, I'll just sing it for you. And he was like, no, I don't like these stuffs. I just wanted to go in bed with you. And it was like, okay, bye. What I'll say. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Navish.
I
So I'll ask Sana Khartar, who is the founder of Pakistani Asexual Association. She is currently based in UK, so she will share about her experience.
Hi everyone, I'm Sana. I am originally from Pakistan, but currently based in London for last 13 years now. I am currently in a hetero asexual relationship, and I actually was in this relationship before I realized that I was asexual. I always had doubts, but I wasn't sure. I was brought up in a Muslim faith, so and in a South Asian culture where sex before marriage is a taboo. In Muslim faith, it's a sin. Uh, so it was it was conditioned not to have sex or relationships before getting married. When I was about 11 years old, 12 years old, my father sat me down and he gave me a proper sex ed. But obviously, at that time, which is like about 15, 16 years ago now, LGBT and asexuality was not very heard of, or people would not talk about it, even though I came from a very liberal and I have a very privileged background as compared to a lot of people. So he told me that, if you ever fall in love with somebody, instead of going and having sex with him or having a relationship with him, just bring him home. And again, it was not considered that I might fall in love with a woman. So it was always doctrined that, I am going to fall in love with a boy and I have to be with a male in future, so I can bring him home. That was what was told to me, which seemed like a brilliant thing at that point. I was very active in sports and represented Pakistan in certain sports. And I had a lot of male friends. But for me, like, people around me thought that those boys I was friends with were my boyfriends, or I was too close to males as compared to females. But for me, it didn't really matter. The gender did not matter. The female or male people, or whatever gender they had, for me it was similar. It never really mattered. But then what happened was that as we grew older, um, people started, you start having feelings for your friends because you're spending so much time with them. So they ended up having feelings for me, which kind of ruined the friendships as well, while I did not reciprocate those feelings. When I moved to, well, actually, before moving to the UK, I was part of this peace community where India and Pakistan and other conflicted areas, people come together and they talk about the issues. So I had a friend, my best friend at that time. So I thought I will maybe experiment with him while all my other friends were falling in love or had secret boyfriends. And I don't know if they were having any relationships or not, but I thought I could just go out and maybe experiment with my best friend at that time. So I did have my first kiss with him, but I did not feel anything. Eventually, he ended up falling in love with me, and that ruined a lot of things. And then I moved to the UK. Initially, I decided not to have a relationship, but when I ended up having a relationship, it went south really badly because there was lack of intimacy. My partner expected me to be more sexually intimate with him, while for me, holding hands or hugging was also a big issue. I was touch repulsive as well. I still am. I go numb. If you touch me without telling me, I go numb. It could be because of my trauma as well, childhood trauma where I was molested. So a lot of people do question me, is it because of your childhood abuse that you are asexual? That could have played a part, but then that would have meant that I would never have liked any man because I was abused by a man. So but most of my friends are males, so I don't think so that the abuse plays a part. Yes, sometimes I do get the nightmares and stuff, but it does not play a part in me being an asexual. It's just that I never felt the need that I need to be sexually intimate with somebody or I need to have penetrative sex with somebody. I consider myself a romantic asexual because I do get very romantically involved. I like to do small things for my current partner, and the things that would fall under the category of romance. I met my partner about 10 years ago. We were friends for a while, and I think we spoke a lot. We had a lot of connection, and eventually we decided to move in together, and things progressed slowly. So we've known each other for 10 years. Initially, we did have a very strong sexual relationship as well, but I never felt that I needed to have that sexual relationship with my partner. And it was never forced upon me, but it's just that I was, again, from South Asian community, I think you just can't say no. And it took me a long time to come to terms where I could just tell him, no, really, I'm not interested right now, or I don't want to have sex. In 2015, I was diagnosed with a condition called endometriosis. So when that happened, sex became extremely painful. That triggered my memories for my sexual abuse as well. And that was when I had to tell my partner about my abuse. And I actually came out to him and told him that I am asexual because I just can't do it anymore. Initially, we thought that there was something wrong in the relationship. We had a lot of fights. And you know how in every relationship, when something new happens or a transition happens, you have insecurities and doubts. So once the anger was over, I had to sit him down and calmly explain to him everything. Asexuality was a very new term for him as well. And when I explained to him that this is asexuality and this is what it is, so he realized that all those years there were things that added up. I knew I was asexual around when I was about 18, 19 years old. But then there was not much awareness about it at that time. I did not know the label. I did not know the name of what sexual orientation I was. I would identify as. So I had to keep doing my research for a while before I could identify myself as asexual. So once my partner realized what asexuality is and what are my challenges and struggles, he became very supportive and understanding. He also went on to read things himself to understand it better, to provide more support in terms of my medical condition and asexuality as well. And I can confirm that there has never been a time where I had to compromise sexually with my partner. I would not have put him in this position if I had known before being in a relationship with him that I was asexual. I would have come out to him openly. But I think I only realized the term because initially I used to think there's something wrong with me. Why can't I have sex normally like other people? What is it? Is it a condition? Is it something? It used to make me very angry. But I have also given him his freedom as well, that if he wants to have, because he's a heterosexual, and if he has any needs where he wants to go and have sex with somebody or have an open relationship, I'm happy for him to go ahead with it, because I don't want to hold anyone behind or put him in shackles just because we are in a relationship. I gave him the freedom to leave, to move on as well, when I realized, when I came out to him. But then I think by then we were too much into the relationship. We had invested too much. This morning itself, somebody asked me if it was asexuality was because of emotional or mental instability, or is it because of depression that you don't want to have sex? Um, so it's just that my partner is a bit older than me. So we have invested so much into this relationship. And right now, more than having a sexual relationship, it's the comfort of the company of each other. And we are together in it for companionship. Um, so if he wants to have a relationship outside, he is happy. So I have given him every opportunity to go, and I would not consider it cheating. And in the same way, he respects my space and doesn't force himself upon me. So it's a give and take in the relationship. And it's not difficult if you communicate. I think for me, I felt like I was lying to him until I did not tell him. But once I told him and things settled down, it worked out eventually. Um, I was also, shamed by, when I tell people that I am asexual, I do get shamed by them, saying that maybe I am not with the right person. Maybe they don't know how to, um, I don't know how to, maybe my partner doesn't know how to please me or satisfy me. But that's not the case. He's a medical doctor, so I'm sure he finds the places that other men are unable to find. Um, so, I am happy in a relationship with him. And I think it is possible to have that relationship with somebody if they are okay. And I think what Raj is doing with Ace app is amazing. I had no idea about Ace app until I read uh, the post about this thing. And I have had a lot of people, somebody created a group as well about matching people from different like AS backgrounds in Pakistan, because we are forced into relationships or into marriages where a person does not want to have that sexual relationship, because it leads on to marital rape. In Pakistan, you cannot say no to your husband. You cannot deny your husband according to Sharia law as well. If you do, they can divorce you. They can lock you up in a room. According to Sharia laws, they can stop your food. They can do a lot of things. There's a lot of domestic abuse involved around it as well. So, or you're considered disabled, or you have some issues, and then in more backward areas, they think you're possessed. So there's a lot of stigma involved. You can't, if you tell somebody, as Ruxmini mentioned earlier, that until Dipa's family was happy that she's not into sexual relationships or intimacy because she's a good girl, but when they want her to have sex and she's not ready to, there's something wrong with her. So in Pakistan as well, there are a lot of women-only groups where women post that they are either asexual or their partners are not interested in having sex with them. So you're just not ruining one life, you're ruining several lives, because once you're married, you're forced into having kids as well. A person who cannot stop their own marriage against their wishes, how would they stop somebody from forcing them to? There's a lot of emotional blackmailing involved, forcing involved, and I'm sure people in Bangladesh and India would be able to relate to it, because that's how it happens in all three countries. And once you have kids, then they're like a baggage. You don't want them, and you're not only ruining your life but your kids' life, their future lives, and then in the end it's a whole vicious cycle which keeps going on. There is hardly any awareness about asexuality in Pakistan, although there is a huge community, and there are people who are still um, sort of trying to identify. They're confused whether they are actually asexuals, or is it because of the society norms that have forced them into believing that they're asexuals. Because I had friends who said that they were asexuals before getting married, and once they got married, they realized they're not asexuals, which is fine with me. But there are people who are asexuals forced into relationships. So I think I am definitely going to put forward the ASAP for people who are looking for relationships on my support group and my pages that I follow or run. And people can, I hope people can, interact with each other. I think it's a great initiative. And if there are any questions,
I have a question.
yeah.
So I am also sex repulsed asexual, and what you were describing comes under the sex repulsed part of the spectrum. So how do you cope up with the constant discrimination? Because I am a student leader and I am under scrutiny all the time in India when it comes to being asexual and being sex repulsed. Like there were times when I was representing just the sex repulsed part of the asexuality spectrum, and there was a lot of backlash. And you understand as a woman that there's a underlying pressure on us to get married, have kids, and in India it's the same thing as Bangladesh and Pakistan or Nepal for that matter.
Yeah.
How do you cope up?
So I think until 2014 I was this scared child who would not really say anything back. I would just keep quiet and listen to everything, come back home and cry. But when my father passed away in 2014, I realized I have to fight my own battles now. And that's why when I became very vocal. So when like I keep getting all these people asking me, would you like to sleep with me? Or if that's not the right man, maybe you can come and sleep with me. I'll make sure that you enjoy. And one of my very close friends actually on during the LGBT Pride Month, I posted on my picture, one of my pictures, and came, created a post about asexuality. And he said, oh, you should come back to Pakistan because your sex senses are rusted. So I'll make them work. So that was something from a very close and very old friend. I felt, wow, that was just so insensitive. So now I just tell people off. I have come to a point in my life where I'm child free by choice. I don't want to have kids. I think if I ever feel the need of having a child, I will adopt or sponsor a child if I want to, because I don't want to bring more people into this miserable world. But I think I just tell them off now. If somebody tells me, oh, you should come and have sex with me, I would just tell them, okay, fine, you will have sex with me. You will still orgasm or whatever. You will enjoy it. I'm not going to enjoy it. What is in it for me? Then they take it to the prostitution side. Oh, so you're asking for money. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking that what is in it for me? It is. So I'm saying, what is in it for me? Like with my partner, if I sleep with my partner, at least there is some connection, there is some bonding. There is, like, he looks after me, he's there for me in my down times. So if this is something he wants, I can give back to him just as a thank you, although that's not the case. But why would I go and sleep with a random man? But they don't understand that. So yeah, I think
This
the
has
best way.
happened with me too, and I think I'll speak about it later because it was very, cathartic just to listen to you, and just to meet a fellow asexual who is sex repulsed and have gone through the similar things.
Yes. So I think it's just being about vocal, badass, and tell them off. That's the way forward, because we are marginalized, we are ridiculed for our identities and sexual orientation. So it's just, we need to tell them off. That's how I deal with things. And I think maybe I would not have done that if I was in Pakistan. But being in the UK has given me that courage to do and tell people off.
So I'll ask Bauer to talk. So Bauer, Caroline Bauer, she is the founder of ACES NYC and co-lead of ACE Community Survey Team, and she is based in New York.
Yeah, hi. I'm I go by Bauer, so hello, she, her. Yeah, so I started the group in New York City in 2012. But the reason I started it was because I didn't know anybody else when I figured out that I was asexual. When I was like 16, I think like 2005, four or five, or some long time ago. Yeah, so I didn't know anybody else, and I didn't know how to find anybody else, and I found Avon, and I found, he was A-Spec, which like is, I think, still a dating site for asexual people, and there's like one other human being in Connecticut, and so that was really lonely. And then like 6-7 years later, I was in New York, and I had gone
Could
there.
you speak a little louder?
Sure. Is this okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And I wanted to go to New York specifically because I thought there'd be more people. So then there had to be more asexual people, but we didn't have a group. So then finally, quite a number of years later, I said, okay, it's still not here. Like I'll start one. Yeah. So should I just do a short introduction, or should I? Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. So that's why I started ACES NYC, and I'm so happy that now there is a group that's happening in Bangladesh as well.
We want to hear about the relationship you were talking about.
Sure. Yeah. So as I said, I didn't know anybody, and so I started a group so that I could know somebody. But I definitely wanted the ability to be in a relationship, and very romantic. So asexual, but definitely not aromantic personally. And I didn't know how to meet anybody. I didn't know how to find anybody. So then it took, I think, maybe 5 or so years of running the group before I really found anybody that I was personally interested in, who was interested in me as well. And so the first person that I dated was somebody I met through doing work in the asexual community. We ran a group together. I had gone to NYU, and they were in NYU, and so I helped get an asexual group at the university there up and running. And we're not together anymore, but they're still my family member. But right now I have a girlfriend who I love dearly, and it felt much easier to start finding people elsewhere when dating sites started letting you say that you were asexual or demisexual, so that you could find other people. So that's where I found her, and so we've been together for 2.5 years. And so it's been really helpful for me to be able to be with somebody else who's also on the asexual spectrum. So she's demisexual, and so our relationship gets to be a lot more based off of things that aren't focused on sex, which is, I like need that. I like can't be in a relationship if it's not like that. And so I realized in trying to figure out who I could be with as I was growing up, after I figured out that I was asexual, that I'm fine with people being in multiple relationships. So she's actually married, and her wife has a boyfriend. But yeah, so I don't know, 2.5 years of being together, which is nice, and COVID is hard, and but yeah, I don't know. I found that it's been really eye-opening for me to be able to be in a relationship with somebody else who's also on the A spectrum, because I have found that I held myself back a lot in other kinds of relationships, particularly in being affectionate. It felt like if being affectionate would always lead to sex, or like, are you going to try this, or is it like, do you not have to do that? Or and once I got to be with people who were also on the A spectrum, where that wasn't something that was necessary, I realized that I'm much more affectionate person. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Par, for sharing your experience. Now we will go to the next panelist. So we have Kate Wood, who is a feminist and asexual activist from Australia. She will share her experience, and after that we have Gemma, who is also with Kate. So she will, after Kate's presentation, she will also share.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Am I working? Yes, you can see me. Okay. Hello. I'm Kate, and I'm an activist from Australia, and I do a lot of work on the subject of asexual people who have experienced sexual violence, because I have, without going into a lot of detail, when I was 16 and 17, I went through a lot of violence. The idea was, I didn't know the word asexual then, so I didn't know that the reason I wasn't like all my friends and wanting to, I guess, wanting to like experiment with sexual situations and that kind of thing. I didn't know why, but all of my friends thought it was odd that I didn't. So they would try to fix what was wrong with me by forcing me into things that I didn't want to do. And so we call that corrective assault, because it's supposed to correct what's wrong with you. So what I do is study and kind of go to people in the asexual community to find out, to collect these stories of acts of violence, and especially sexual violence that have happened to asexual people, because we get a lot of situations from people who aren't asexual who say that asexuals aren't oppressed, they don't have any problems, they don't belong in the LGBTQI plus community because they don't experience any discrimination for being asexual. You know, they're basically the same as straight people. And so my research and the work that I have done is in showing that that is not at all true, and that we actually go through a lot of very serious oppression. Can you make it so that I can share my screen, Ruxmini?
You can share your screen. The screen share is
Okay, great. I just have to find the right window. No, not that one. Oh no. Wait, sorry. I am not very good at this. This is the one. So we did a survey last year with my group, and we wanted to see if other people had had the same kind of experiences as me, because we didn't know kind of what people had experienced in the world. So we looked at all kinds of different forms of discrimination and oppression, and we got nearly 1,600 people all across the world answered our survey, and they told us their kind of stories. So these are just some figures that we found in the 1,600 people that answered. So 12% of them reported some kind of discrimination or mistreatment by a medical professional. Nearly 2%, something that happened in their workplace that counted as discrimination. And we didn't ask people about religious exclusion or being sort of like excluded or badly treated by their church or by their religious community. We didn't ask about that, but we still got 0.4% of people who reported that. So it's something that we would ask in another survey in the future to see if more people would say yes if there was a box to tick. But the 12.2% of people in the medical discrimination box is very concerning. And I think it's interesting that talking about the that illness that I can never remember the name of, even though I've just heard it. Sorry, I have a bit of a cognitive processing disorder where my brain doesn't always connect to my mouth. So I'm very sorry if I sound a little bit confused. But yeah, medical discrimination, most of them are stories about a medical professional not believing a person that they are asexual or not believing a person that they don't have sex. So we had the story, for example, of a lady who she had a very serious urinary tract infection. And when an infection like that gets very serious, it can become extremely dangerous. And she'd been to her doctor and she'd been to her doctor again. And finally she went to her hospital because it was becoming so bad. And the doctor in the hospital refused to believe her that it was a urinary issue and kept saying to her, no, this is a sexually transmitted illness that you've got because you've been having sex. You're 26 years old. You must have had sex. And this woman is saying to her, no, I've never had sex. I'm an asexual woman. I've never had sex before. And the doctor was saying, no, you're only lying to yourself. You know, you're only hurting yourself by continually telling this lie. And I'm not going to help you until you admit that you have sex and that this is a sexually transmitted disease. So this woman was just getting sicker and sicker in the hospital because this doctor was refusing to believe her when she said that it was not a sexually transmitted illness. In terms of other kinds of exclusion, when we got people to answer the question of whether they'd been socially excluded in their community, so the same number of people, 34.13%, said they'd been excluded from the general community as the number of people who said they'd been excluded from LGBTQIA+ spaces. So I won't talk very much about that, but it's very important to note that those were not the same 34.13% people. There were different people that reported both, but it was very upsetting to see how many people had been excluded from LGBTQIA+ spaces where they should be welcomed. Next one. So this is where we start to get into the very upsetting and dangerous statistics. So 61.7% of the people we surveyed were told at some point that asexuality is not real or is not normal. 38%, nearly 39% said that their asexual identity was invalidated because of either their sexual experience or their sexual inexperience. And there was one really interesting story that a person told where they said that they were told by everybody that they couldn't know that they were asexual because they'd never had sex before. And then they had a sexual encounter. So they did have sex. And then all their friends were saying to them, but I thought you were asexual. You can't be asexual if you've had sex. So on the one side, it wasn't possible because they had never had sex. And then all of a sudden when they had, it couldn't be possible because they had had sex. The two completely opposite things were coming out from the same people, which is an amazing sort of cognitive dissonance that's occurring there. And I guess just means that people didn't want to believe that she was ever asexual at all. So going through the others, you know, there's things like being told that they need to be fixed or cured, and that was a disturbing sort of range of things, because some people were saying, you know, it was just like their concerned mother saying, oh, you know, we need to go take you to the doctor because there must be something wrong with your hormones, which is upsetting and distressing. But you know, at the other end, there's also, you know, a lot of women or non-binary people describing having, you know, a man say to them that they need to be fixed or cured, and the tone and kind of the way that he has said it has been very frightening to them, and, you know, kind of sound threatening. Through there's just general insults like I'm sure that any asexual person knows the kind of insults that I'm talking about. So just general insults, and a lot of the ones like equating asexual people with things like plants and aliens and amoeba, and also just general unpleasant words. Then there's the ones where we start to get into relationships themselves, which is what I really want to talk about, and which Gemma will be talking about as well. And then we get like things like an asexual person being blamed by their partner for the problems in the relationship. And even when the relationship has all kinds of other problems, and I've experienced this as well, it's the asexuality that's been blamed for everything. It's been made the scapegoat in the relationship problems. Then a little bit less than that is being shamed by the partner for being asexual, as though it's something that the person can help. The ones in yellow, if you can see them, yellow means that this is people that wrote these things in without it being a question. So, you know, up to almost 10% of people. So that's a lot of people to have done it as write-in answers. And yeah, number 7, which I think is very, there's one here at the end, sorry, with 7% in purple, I think is a very concerning statistic, in that 7% of people were shamed by other people for having an allosexual, a non-asexual partner. So this is people saying to them like, it's not fair for you to do this to your partner, or you know, you're taking a person who is not asexual like out of the dating pool for everyone else, and it's not fair of you to do that, or it's not fair what you're doing to them, you're abusing them by not letting them have sex with you, that kind of accusation. And here we get to the heavy statistics, where 13% of people who responded reported experiencing at least one incident of physical or sexual violence at some point. So 21% in total, 21% of men, which is huge, and in total 9% of respondents had experienced sexual assault. 4% of respondents had experienced rape. This number here I'll talk about in a moment, and the next one is physical violence, 3% and 2%. Oh, wrong one. Here we are. So 13% of respondents reported experiencing at least one incident of physical or sexual violence. So we had 9.5% of our respondents ticked the box that said they'd experienced sexual assault of some kind. And then this 2.6 in green at the top, that is people who did not tick a box saying that they'd experienced sexual assault, but then they wrote down a story that they shared with us, which by definition, they're describing a sexual assault. And I have I didn't want to define somebody's experience as sexual assault for them, because as someone who survived it myself, I know that it's important not to put a label on somebody else's experience, but I think it's also important to get the statistics right. So I had that extra category that I've called sexual assault by definition, and I popped it on the top so that we get around about 13% of respondents reported at least one incident of sexual violence. And the kind of things we're looking at there are, so these sexual assaults, they can be things that come from a partner, a random person, a friend. And what I've done with these numbers is there have been some incidents that I haven't counted, because what I've looked at in the survey, so it's important to note that with this 12 point a little bit %, these are people, I have cut out things like an incident of child sexual abuse. I've cut out the people who have said, they were attacked by a stranger in the street. I've cut out all of those to only include those incidents of sexual assault or violence that have happened because the person is asexual. So this is experiences like mine where they only occurred because the survivor or the victim was an asexual person, and they have been the victim of this or the survivor of this because somebody felt the need that it was something that they could do to them because they were an asexual person. So even though I was expecting to find other people would have similar experiences to me in the survey, I was personally quite shocked by how high the number is. And so from doing this, that has kind of led me on to, led me on to doing this some more. So originally, it was just our intention to do the survey, but it has made me very angry doing the survey. And so now what I do in my kind of spare time is I go to places where asexual people are, and I just talk to them, and I gather information basically. And I don't know, at the moment I don't do anything with the information I gather, I just gather it. But I'm hoping that in the future maybe I can find the time or the funds to write a book or collect them in a website or something like that, so that when people say asexual people don't have any problems or they don't experience any oppression, there is a legitimate source that you can point to that will say, well, here is a book that you can look at. Here is a legitimate source that is not somebody's blog, which people are likely to dismiss if it's somebody's blog or something that they don't think is a legitimate, official source of information. So I would really like to create something that is an official source of information that people can't be so dismissive of. And where we can collect these things. And also I just like going to places and listening to people's stories, because one thing we found when doing this survey was that in the final box, as there often is with a survey, we just said, is there anything else that you'd like to say, any comment that you'd like to make? And a very large number of people, their comment was just, thank you for asking, or no one has ever surveyed me on this before, or thanks for doing this. There was just a huge number of people who were just grateful to have been asked, because no one has ever asked them these questions before. So I would like to ask them these questions again, perhaps with funding, so that we can do it. One other purpose of our survey was to, because we were a group of volunteers from our little group in Australia who, we didn't have any money to do this. We didn't have the backing of a university or any organization. We were just volunteering our time. And so I would like to do this with the money or the backing of some academic institution that would, again, give a little more legitimacy, I guess you would call it, to the work that we have done. But I would really like to, unless anyone has any questions, I would like to hand over to Gemma, because she has some first-hand experience to tell us about, because I would not like to use mine. So Gemma will talk about it instead.
Okay. Yeah, I think we go to Gemma, and after that we can have like question. We have like Gemma, and after that we have Meghna. So maybe we have the question and answer after Meghna is also done. And if anyone has any question, you can just write to the chat box so we can ask the questions at that time.
Okay, we're good to go?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Gemma, and Kate and I are the coordinators of of Aussie Ace Week, and I also run the Australian Facebook group for Australian Asexuals, and I co-run Oceanic Asexuals, and I've just started an Asia Pacific Asexuals Facebook group where I hope to get collaboration and coordination between asexuals across the Asia Pacific region. And it's small at the moment, and it was actually this symposium that gave me the idea because Bangladeshi asexuals reached out to Australian asexuals, and I went, it would be really good if there was somewhere where people, particularly in our region, can communicate and facilitate collaboration with each other and help each other in that way. And given our regional locality, a lot of the stuff out there is UK and US based, and there's not a lot of stuff, like a lot of resources and things in the Australian community, let alone everywhere else in the Southern Hemisphere, in our little end of the world. So yeah, so that was basically why it was created. So anybody from the Asia Pacific region is welcome. But basically, yeah, I need to get my notes. 1 minute. So basically, I have experience with an aphobic allosexual partner, someone that is an asexual, and I was married. I'm technically still married to them. I haven't done the divorce papers. But basically, I've known him since before I knew I was asexual, and I've been out as asexual since 2005. And I knew him through some friends, and he was madly in love with me for years and years and years, and we had an on again, off again, romantic, what have you. And eventually I stopped trying to run away and decided, well, I'm just going to suck it up, and this guy obviously wants to be with me, so I'm going to make it work. And he knew I was asexual. We officially got together in 2011, so he was well aware that I was asexual and well aware that I was very active in the asexual community. I was part of Avon on the project team, and I was also a moderator on there for quite a while and did interviews, and I did a Australian TV little segment thing with a couple of others. So it was out there. And he basically got the shits because I was talking about this and other people were asking him questions, and his family is nosy and pushy and was annoying him about it. And he basically asked me can you just keep it on the down low and not do any more interviews and stuff like that? And I'm like, okay, fine, and it snowballed from there, the aphobia. And and on top of that, we did have asexual relationship at one point or another, and nothing I gave was good enough. Nothing I did was good enough to be what he wanted. And he basically, there was some sexual coercion in there, and it was not a fun time. So, and I did offer for him to seek sex elsewhere, and I basically got told, well, I'm married to you and you're who I want. And I'm like, well, thanks. Thanks for policing my feelings about it as well, when he tried to tell me that I should be into it as much as he is because that's what he wanted from a partner. And these are some of the many reasons I left. I'm also a parent. I have a small little child, and we co-parent. And people kind of give me a bit of a like, oh, well, you're a parent, you must have actually wanted the sex and wanted to be part of that. And a lot of people, even when I talk to them in my ADHD groups or other locations, I still get the, oh, well, you know, you obviously haven't had the right partner, or all the kind of stuff that Sana was saying. And I have had sex since I was 18 and I'm now 38. And I have tried repeatedly to get my emotional needs met by being what I thought they wanted, and done some stuff I'm not proud of. But it's not a matter of not the right person, because if that was the case, that I wouldn't, you know, the stuff, my history speaks for itself, really, when it comes down to it. And so many people assume that asexuals don't have sex at all, or can't have a sexual relationship, and that's just not the case. And there's plenty that do for having kids, which is one of my reasons why I did, because I wanted children. But everyone's experience is different, and asexuals come in all shapes and sizes, and the community as a whole needs to be, it should be accepting of all ways that we have our relationships. And I mean, I know we had our problematic panelist before and his very tight definition of things. So it's really important, I think, to understand that everyone's relationships will and do look different, even within the asexual umbrella. What else have I got in there? Sorry, just double checking my notes. So, I mean, with like, thanks. I mean, with the relationships that asexuals do have, a lot of them, like, and I mean, in my experience, I was basically trying to get my emotional needs met by being sexually available and being what I thought they wanted. And I'd end up feeling empty because it wasn't fulfilling, because it was, you know, it wasn't fulfilling to have people view you like that. And particularly, I've always been a curvy person. And so many people have this obsession with talking to your boobs as a woman. And even friends would just, they'd be basically wanting to have a conversation about my body. And I'm like, well, that's not the relationship I want to have with you, but, you know, cheers. And so it's an interesting, even though Kate and I both come from a predominantly Anglo-Saxon country, we still have people who speak to us about asexual stuff, or who have the same, similar, maybe not the same level of oppression and the same level of violence enacted against them as in countries who are not as progressive as Australia is supposed to be. But we also have some experience, particularly with Kate and my sexual coercion experience, where we do also experience the sexual violence and disbelief that people have of asexuals as a whole. And I think I've covered everything. I'm sorry, I was very last minute and I made a few dots.
Yeah, I think one thing that's worth, and that I was talking to Dipa and Ruxmini about is that although in this country marital rape is illegal, rape is always illegal in a technical sense. I'm not happy with how often it's prosecuted or convicted, but it is technically always illegal.
Oh God, no.
But the thing is, in a lot of relationships, even when one partner isn't asexual, just in general, in a lot of relationships, you know, if one person is very much coercive, you know, so they don't explicitly say that you have to have sex with them, or they don't explicitly force you to have sex, but you know, if your partner is saying that I'm not getting enough sex, so I'm going to leave you, or they behave in a very, you know, unpleasant way that just makes them difficult to be around, and then when you have sex with them, they become much more pleasant, and you know, your life is much easier, or they're, you know, emotionally abusive most of the time, and then having sex with them, yeah, makes them less of a burden on your life. I mean, technically that's not illegal. Technically they're not doing anything that you can say anything to anyone, or even if you tell a friend, you know, and the friend will say, well, what are you complaining about? What have they done that's wrong? And it's, especially when you're in the middle of this relationship where even you can't necessarily say what it is that's wrong. It is wrong. It's just that we don't always have the language to describe what the problem is. And there's definitely moves in Australia now to make these kinds of behaviours illegal. Coercive control is what they're calling it, and it's not just in sexual things. It's in general any relationship in which a person uses coercion and threats, and not even necessarily verbal threats, but just a general sense of danger, or sense that you might do something violent. So it's illegal now to domestic violence is illegal now to actually physically hit or harm your partner, but it's not currently illegal to do things like that where you make them feel as though you might hit them. And there's a campaign at the moment to try and make that illegal, like it's illegal in Scotland. So it's illegal in some places, and that's what we're working on here now, but it's a long way away from actually achieving that.
On what Kate was saying, I mean, it's basically a matter of people, you know, I know that when Kate and I were talking about our trauma panel that we're doing for Ausace Week, and I was umming and ahhing about whether or not to be on it, whether I was going to be anonymous, what that was going to look like, I was struggling to define what I had experienced as outside of what people would call normal. And talking to Kate about her experiences, because we go a long way back, way back, and I realized that what I had experienced was outside of the normal spectrum of things, even towards some of my non-ACE friends, and it gave me the courage to be able to discuss it, and gave me the guts to be able to actually be on our trauma panel, because I knew there was something wrong about some of the things that have happened, but I didn't know how to articulate it, and I didn't know how, like, where it came in the scale of things. You know, like, is it really, you know, and that internalized, is it really that bad? Is it really something that I shouldn't have expected in the relationship? Or, you know, am I being ridiculous? Am I being unreasonable to expect that this shouldn't have happened? And when people turn around and label domestic violence as just, oh, well, he hit me, there's a whole grey area under there that never gets talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I think there was a question before about our survey. So that was respondents. We had 1,600 people from all over the world. We originally expected, you know, oh, we might get like maybe 100 people, and that would be great, and that would be some good statistics if we had 100 Australian people, and then we ended up with 1,600 people from all over the world. So it's less relevant to our local area, which is a bit of a shame, but on the other hand, 1,600 people is a great sample size. So so we didn't mind so much that we had so many people. So Gemma and I are both on a panel for Aussie Ace Week on Tuesday night. And as Gemma was saying, as Gemma was saying, you know, she was kind of not sure because our panelists and me, who, you know, what I went through is definitely sexual assault, and we have another person who has been raped, and another person who, you know, was in an abusive relationship. And then Gemma was like, you know, just what I've been through, all these multiple cases of sexual coercion all throughout my life, do I deserve to be on the same panel as you people who've been through like a real trauma, you know? And we're saying, yeah, you know, what you've experienced is trauma, and it's been traumatic for you throughout your whole life to go through these things. And I think that's experience from my experience going around, you know, to asexual spaces and talking to people. That's just so common to have these repeated experiences of putting yourself through these things to try and like seem like you're normal, or to just try and get through life, I think is really common. Do we provide support? Well, we provide support in that we have a lot of, I guess, support groups. So I'm part of Australian Asexuals, but my local group here in Canberra, we have a lot of like, before COVID, we had a lot of like meeting up in a space where we would all just get together and we would support one another. And, sometimes it would just be being social and not really even talking about asexual things, but often we would talk about asexuality as well. And, it would be great that someone could bring along a new member, and that would be great for that person to have everyone there to talk to you and provide support to them. Or because we're on Facebook, people can see who we are and they can come to a meeting. And people, so often we have people who show up new to the Facebook or new to our Discord server, and they're just like, oh my God, I had no idea there were so many other people. And then it's great to see all these people who are like, hello, it's great to meet you. You're a new person. What do you need to know? And then they just kind of give them everything and make everyone feel really welcome. And I think it's great because I think a lot of people, with asexual people, like almost everyone has experienced that feeling of, oh my God, I'm the only person in the world with this experience, and then finds people. But yeah, we can't. We wish that we had like the resources to actually provide help. Oh, do you need to vet the new people? No, we don't. Or we find the in-person, I don't think we've ever had a problem in our local group. We have occasionally had a problem on social media with people joining. We had one yesterday on our new Discord group, but we just ban them and block them. Yeah, we don't have in person. I don't think we've ever had a problem. And I think just the sheer numbers would probably be helpful. But no, we haven't. Yeah. I wish that that's amazing that they provide mental health services. I wish we could afford that, but there's no money.
I mean, we do have LGBTQ, some with IA plus added to them, services in Australia that do provide support, and a lot of and I've been sending out our press releases for our Aussie Ace Week to anyone and everyone I could get my hands on, basically. And I found a lot of them, even though they did say LGBTQ, LGBT, they did include quite a few of them did include asexual in their description of people that they help. And we have had people from some of those organizations share Aussie Ace Week stuff on Twitter and Instagram and out on Facebook, which has been really awesome to have that support from them.
Yeah, and we have to seek out things like here in Canberra, if somebody needs mental health services and they're asexual, I just direct them to my work, because I work at a place that provides mental health services for the LGBTQIA plus community. Or they don't actually have the A in their acronym, but they assure me that they will put the A in their acronym when they're around.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. Maybe after Meghna presents, because it's quite late here in Bangladesh and India. So we go to the next presenter. So now I'll welcome Meghna Mehra, who is the author of Marriage of Convenience and founder of All India Queer. Meghna?
Just a sec, I'm trying to connect the presentation. If it doesn't get connected, I'll share the link to my book's trailer.
Okay.
And I'm Meghna, I'm 23 years old. And I'm the founder of All India Queer Association. I have written 2 books, and my first book is Marriage of Convenience, which has an asexual protagonist named Rishita. So my first book, Marriage of Convenience, is about homosexual people marrying heterosexual people to stay in the closet. Okay. This is the trailer that you can see, but it's in Hindi.
Okay.
Here. Hi all. So those who are okay, those who are especially from South Asian countries could relate to the phenomena of marriage of convenience that goes on around the LGBTQIA plus community. So my book is about homosexual people marrying a heterosexual woman to stay in the closet. But the plot twist is the protagonist is asexual, and she fights, and the character is based off all the experiences that I know about asexual women, and she fights back, and she leaves that abusive marriage. And I have done a research paper on impacts of patriarchy on asexual community in India last year. For my project, I was doing a postgraduate diploma in women and gender studies. Currently I'm pursuing masters of arts in political science. And All India Queer Association is a union, is a queer union, and it works for the whole queer community. It is founded by me, and we have completed 1.5 years. Ek minute, it's October, June, July, August, September, October. Okay, so 7, 8. Okay, 1 year, 9 months. My baby grew up. So, and so in that, let's get back to my book. So I felt there was a need to write about asexual characters because we have very limited asexual characters when it comes to South Asian popular media. If you go to Bollywood, they are worse when it comes to queer representation. I'm so glad they are not having asexual characters. Otherwise, they would have used it as a punchline. And I see two people smiling here. I think they are agreeing with me already. And so I'm in student politics, and I wish to pursue politics later. So I was in the closet for 8 years. I had no idea that term like asexuality existed, and I'm a sex repulsed asexual. Yeah, Jama, it's really true. Asexual characters are few. So I felt that there was a need to write strong asexual characters, and I often see they stereotype asexual characters either as heartless villains or vamps, who are going to just, they are very heartless, they don't feel anything, or they make us very lonely, or they make us foodie like jugheads. So this character basically has a relationship. She had relationships before. I'm talking about my book's character, but she's just done with the all the abuse and she leaves. So it's based on so many real asexual women who escape abusive marriages and abusive relationships. Ruxmini, can you add Deepa again? They have just texted me on the messenger.
Okay.
They got disconnected.
Yeah, I
So
locked the meeting so that, we don't have any kind of interruption. So I think, yeah, I'll just tell her to join in.
So, and one character is based off Raj. Yay, free publicity. Okay. Sorry, I joke like that in between. And so I started dating at a very young age, and I realized there was something wrong with me. I thought I was a late bloomer because even though I'll date somebody, I'll not feel sexual attraction towards them. And so I think I'm the youngest person here, or no, Saptrishi is also 23. So yeah, this happens. So this has happened with me too, and I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it one by one. So first of all, I want to talk about India is having lowest divorce rate right now in South Asia. It's around 1 to 2%, and we all were talking indirectly about marital rape, how it should be criminalized, how it's affecting us, especially the women here. And we have this pressure to get married and have sex, and marital rape is affecting asexual women and allosexual women alike. And obviously it's worse in our case at times. I feel the need that we should push the agenda and criminalize at least marital rape, because it leads to a lot of abuse. And I was just checking the national crime record data. So in 2018, a lot of Indian housewives have committed suicide. I think one of the reasons for that is domestic abuse, which also includes sexual abuse. So when I was listening to Gemma and the other person who was talking about the sexual violence and the study, my study came up into my mind. So in my study and my research paper, 70% of the women respondents, and it's not just hetero romantic women, it is also homo romantic women, but mostly those who are dating men, bi romantic, pan romantic, hetero romantic women, they said that they fear being sexually abused by their partners the most. And there are worse things happening apart from this. I can't even describe. The one time I went to a gynae, and I said I'm having some pain in my uterus, and she said unmarried girls don't get that pain. And by unmarried she meant virgins, so-called virgins. So like, I'm not sexually active, and it led to a huge argument, and later it turned out that I had fatty liver. So she was ignoring it for 2 weeks. And the irony is the gynecologist was a woman. Like, understand me, please understand me. And and she was really old. So I was trying very hard to convince her that I'm sex repulsed. I'm not going to do it. So a lot of incidents happened over here. I have been fired from an NGO for being asexual. Yeah, this is something that I have done too. It's very triggering. I'll not talk about it because my hands will start shivering. And yeah, because it's actually manipulated consent. A lot of people here know this feeling that sometimes we do things because we know the partner will nag, or the partner will create the scene, the partner will be emotionally manipulative, they'll start crying, they'll start slitting their wrist, trigger warning for self-harm. So these things, but I haven't mentioned these things in detail in my book. It's so this happened with an NGO which deals with a lot of foreigners, and a lot of foreigners here come for their savior complex thing. No offense to people who are not from India, but what I'm talking about is the corporate savior complex, that they come to flock to third world countries or developing countries just to feel better. So it was more like a religious market sort of thing. I thought it was an NGO for animal rights, but later I felt that it is just a market. And I don't know, white people were coming there volunteering, and they were paying the NGO. I was the one getting paid there for volunteering. So it was the opposite for them. They are doing the work and they are paying for it. So my employer one day just noticed my Facebook profile after hiring me, and this is an NGO in Himachal Pradesh, that is on another state. So I'm from Delhi. I went to Rajbhai, don't talk about it. So I went to there, and after 4 or 5 days, when my boss found out that I'm asexual, he took me to a corner and he said, "Hey, you need to leave. We don't want queer people here. And either you say that you are celibate, or and I'm an atheist, and people were praying at the table, and I wasn't praying. So I think my boss had this eye on me. Okay, this person might ruin my job market. My customers, potential customers, which are volunteers. So I think we should have a global campaign. I saw a big feminist campaign against the crime against women, which was happening before the pandemic strike everywhere, where all the feminist activists were marching and we were having those dance steps and everything. Yeah, we need a global campaign because especially in Asia, all the burden comes on women. If people get divorced, especially in India, and if you even, I don't know, is there somebody from China here? China, Hong Kong, Taiwan? No one? So it's very hard to get divorced in India and China. So women bear the brunt of it the most. And yeah, and so I decided to form a queer union when I felt that there is a need to radicalize the queer community in India, not just asexual people. And the more we work with the queer community, the more acceptance increases. But yeah, there are people, they don't feel that we are part of the queer community, and you have to make them realize. So with the marital rape campaign, I think we should have, I don't know, a big conference sort of thing and plan on it. After the pandemic, we should start repeatedly protest because, yeah, mostly are married. People in India think that marriage is a license to have sex, and marriage itself is a consent, which is very problematic. I remember our women and child minister saying that if we will bring up marital rape laws, then it will shake the core system of Indian family unit. So they think that the family unit system is based on women's oppression, and they don't want to change it. And everyone here knows, if you are a woman and if you are out and asexual, if your relationship or marriage doesn't work out, and yes, they went up everywhere. Even here we are helping people to escape abuse. I have done another research paper. So we had a lockdown because of the COVID-19 situation, and during that lockdown the cases rose, and not only for women but for queer people as well. I've done another research paper on that and presented it. And right now we are having this project, Empower the Queer project. Empa- Am I audible? Sorry, my network was
Yeah,
lost.
yeah, yeah. You are.
Empower the Queer project, where we are also including queer women and women and helping them to escape abuse. So we are providing mental health services, 1 month of rental allowance,
Mhm.
and Kate, a lot of things happened in India. We have FCRA law. Every law is getting passed on so quickly. We are not having foreign funds, vagera. Thing here very easily. We were getting them earlier easily. So with the Empower the Queer project, we are providing 1 month of mental health services and a monthly rental allowance. If they need help with their physical health, we are helping them for that. And we are trying to get them find a job or start their startup. And there was this one case where We Embrace organization is helping us, which is also run by Nevish and Raj. So in the Empire the Queer project, we are doing fundraising, and then we are allocating these funds to needy people from our community and women to escape abuse, because due to lockdown there are job cuts and people are not having good mental health to escape abuse and just start going for interviews repeatedly. And yeah, marital rape is an issue, and apart from that, overall women's safety is an issue in India. The cases for abuse and rape is rising like anything. And personally, I have faced harassment since the time I have written on my Facebook profile. If you are on my Facebook list or if you are on my Instagram, you will know that I am asexual. It's there on my profile after my coming out. So when I was in the closet, or when I had no idea that even a vocabulary like asexuality existed, I faced abuse for refusing to do even basic sexting that people do, that they sexed each other. I don't like it. I'm sex repulsed and I don't like it. It just make me gag. So it was very severe. There was a time this friend asked me to come to his place and we were doing some work, and he kissed me without my consent and then said, I was just thinking how you will react to it. I said, what the hell that's supposed to mean? And his reaction was, so you felt something? Okay, yeah, I felt pukish and I want to punch you in the face. So it took me years of abuse to finally be able to speak up. Yeah. And so I stumbled upon, luckily, about asexuality in my first year and second year mostly of graduation, when I used to think that I'm heterosexual and there's something wrong with me. I searched about genophobia and I thought maybe I have genophobia. But then I later realized that I don't have genophobia. A lot of people try to equate it to genophobia. If you go to a psychiatrist and if you are seeking mental health for depression or anxiety, they say, oh, your libido is down because you are depressed, or maybe you have genophobia, maybe you have been abused as a child, and it's very problematic. So I realize it's not xenophobia. I'm not scared of sex, but it's something. It's like I don't like having cauliflower, metaphorically, or karela, bitter gourd. I don't like having that particular dish. I can have potatoes. I can have, I don't know, shimla mirch, anything. I can have pasta. I can have pizza, but not those dishes. So I like cuddling. I like holding hands. I like going on dates with people, but you have to tell them beforehand there will be no sex. And there's a problem in India. If you're going to a guy's place, they think, yes, we are gonna bang. That's how their local slang is, and it's very problematic. So it's really hard for people here, and especially for women. Most of the asexual women are still in the closet. We have women in the group, but they refuse to. Yeah, they make it a mission to, I'll cure you, I'll do this, I'll do that. So I was very religious in my teenage, and I thought in the beginning that maybe I am celibate, or maybe I want to do it after the marriage. Then I turned into atheism. I was very tired of all the rituals, and I'm from a upper caste Hindu family, so there are too many restrictions in my life. So I was done with religion, and I was done with all religions, because there was a time I had all religious pata nahi, taweez and all that, and I used to wear it together like a freak. And sorry, I hope I don't have COVID. And so when, yeah, will you all okay, stop triggering me. I will talk slowly about each and everything. And okay, it's already 2 at night here in 5 minutes. So when I turned to atheism, I felt like, why I'm not feeling sexual attraction. And I started dating people like anything. I was dating men, one boyfriend, two boyfriend, one boyfriend each year, one boyfriend every 6 months. Maybe I'll feel something for someone. Then in my second year of graduation, finally I got to know about asexuality. I used to think A is for ally. So I was like, yeah, I am an ally. Then I realized it's for aromantic, asexual, and agender people. And then I read about asexuality at Avian's website. Shout out to Avian for helping me just by their website. So, and that was a moment of catharsis. I felt, oh my God, this is me. This is something that perfectly describes how I feel. And yeah, so you all stop making me laugh. I'm trying not to cry. Don't make me laugh. I'll cry. So then I started coming out, and actually, I wasn't coming out to my friends or something. I was just coming out to potential partners so that they know what they are getting themselves into, because most of the people have a very calculative approach to relationships. They think if I have spent XYZ amount on a woman, I am entitled to sex. Or they get very offended if you split the bill. I mean, bro, in this economy, you should split the bill. And yeah, seriously, the rupee is falling, the taka is rising. I think I'll shift to Bangladesh someday. So I don't know why they are saying Bangladeshi people are coming here. The economy of Bangladesh is rising so much. I think people will start running away to Bangladesh. And India and Pakistan will sit and think what's going to have. Yeah, and it's very tiring. They'll start gaslighting you. No, I'll heal you. No, I think something bad happened to you. No, you are very close to God. No, you are a certain God's reincarnation. I'm like, what the hell? I can. I think I should get a movie done on my journey. It could be a parody, or it could be, I don't know, a tragedy, but with comedy. So people are like shush, abusive and gaslighting you, and then somebody will say something so atrocious. After some time, your reaction is, should I laugh or should I slap this person right across the face? And this kiss thing happened a lot. A lot of people are like, you come to my place. I have a very nice genitial XYZ, basically a man or male genitial. Okay, no, genitals doesn't have a gender. That's very transphobic. But you people get the gist. I'm talking about cis gender heterosexual males. So they are, I don't know, they are very keen on curing everyone. They have become Hakim or doctor, and I don't know what pseudoscience they are studying, that they can heal everyone with their magic dicks. So, and I remember doing a Vice India interview in 2018. After that, my inbox was bombarded with messages of men. My others folder was full of dick pics, unsolicited dick pics. It's like this sums up capitalism. There's no demand of dick pics, but there's surplus supply for it. I don't even want to see it. I don't want to see it. So it was very gross, and a lot of people were mad. And I remember before that, Nevish did a video on asexuality. So I remember I saw only two comments on that video where people were offended with Nevish. One was because that one person was from Gorakhpur and Nevish is from Gorakhpur. So they were mad at Nevish because they are from same state, and Nevish was calling Gorakhpur people conservative. But if you will go to the comment section of my interview, there were three women who has been interviewed. Two women were trolled, me and the other Shambhavi, and it was so horrible. It was no migraine. Human. I have met human form of migraine, and it's very hard. I don't know how other asexual women are coping up. I think this is the reason most of the asexual women are trying to live in the closet in India. They are having these nice groups like We Embrace Indian Asexuals by Raj Saxena. Then I have a group, Asexuals of India. I don't use it much. I have clubbed everyone in ICA, and because I'm like, okay, everyone just come sit here, we'll run together, and then we'll go to protest together. A lot of nonsense is going on. So, but there are a lot of problems. I even noticed that divorce laws are discriminatory against asexuals. So if you are not having sex with your partner, they can file for divorce.
Okay.
Oh God, why men, and why so many of them? Anyway, not all men, not all men, not all men. Okay, bad joke. So I see so many problems in the Indian context. First, we don't have prenuptial, what's that, prenup agreement in India, because um, marriage is not a union, or it is a holy union. Yeah, and there's shady people too. I remember when I was doing a research paper, some guy from Lahore filled up the form and it was full of Hindi abuses. It's like, चाहता क्या है भाई? नहीं चाहता क्या है? And the research paper was for Indian people. I wish he had, shared the contact details. I would have asked, have you crossed the border by mistake, or what happened to you? Why are you hurling abuses? It's just asexual people asking about other asexual people. What's the matter with you? And it's very terrible. And I'm not stereotyping Pakistani. It's everywhere you go. And I don't know, specifically men are offended with everybody. And back to the discussion. So the problem with India is, first, we don't have prenups. Second, we don't have marital rape laws. Third, the divorce laws are discriminatory towards asexual people. Since we do not have a prenup, we can't get it signed. Hey, I'm sex repulsed, I'm not gonna have sex with you, and the partner will sign it and say deal. They can file for divorce later and they can take your money away. Basically, this is very problematic, and you can't report marital rape, you can't report rape within marriage. And there's also discrimination with people who are having live-in relationships and getting sexually abused by their partners. So it's very risky deal for women particularly. And I think that's the same thing in Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Nepal. Do you people have marital rape laws? I don't think so.
We don't.
I'm keeping the floor open for discussion now.
So there are no marital rape laws in Pakistan. The fact that LGBT community is not even recognized, or it's a sin to be a part of LGBT
People
community
still
under
have
Sharia law.
377.
Yeah. So recently, I don't know if anyone has followed news of Pakistan. A few transgender activists were killed or lynched or were arrested and then died because of assault in jail. And nothing's been done. People are protesting, but the government
Are
doesn't
you
give a shit
talking
about
about
it.
Julie, or are you talking about other
Yeah,
activists?
there were others before Julie as well. So, there are no laws. Recently, one of my group members of the Pakistani Asexuals came. He posted a few screenshots, and this guy has been on his case. I don't know, since forever, asking him to have threesome or have sex with him, and this guy keeps blocking him, and this person keeps coming in from different profiles, but it's the same person. So men get harassed as well, but when it comes to marital rape or the LGBT community, it's a sin. You can't even go out and report it. So asexuality is not even recognized. If you go and tell somebody you're asexual, they'll just laugh it in your face, laugh it off. That maybe you should have sex, and only then you will realize. And if you say no, I don't want to have sex, or you're being ungrateful, because I feel like it's very much like Handmaid's Tale, where a woman's biological destiny is to produce kids. And recently I was having nightmares as well that soon there will be an Islamic version of Handmaid's Tale in the world, and that scares the shit out of me. I am an atheist as well, so I have received a lot of hate for being asexual, for being atheist, because I've been openly. I was actually told that if I ever go back to Pakistan, I'll be beheaded.
Okay.
I think they do that with anyone who leaves their religion, especially not only Muslims, but yeah, it's happening a lot. I see so many non-residential Pakistani people having pages where they describe why they left Islam, and even
Yeah.
Sufi and Anjali refuse to come to India and Pakistan. They just live outside because
Yeah.
of the stigma and fear.
Yeah, so there's a lot of hate involved over there, and people are afraid to come out, and they're being forced just because you're friendly to somebody. They think you want to be in a relationship with them, and then they'll force you. Like, I remember at 16 when I first started dating my best friend, um, and I thought I was madly in love with him. Um, it was all broken up by families. It was a typical Bollywood movie scene where I was sent off to England, and he was a Christian. So his mother came and shouted at my mother that keep your daughter
In
look at
control,
the way.
our son is
Yeah,
getting lured by
typical,
her, and that.
typical Bollywood. And so but now my mother would want me to get married to any person, not my current partner, but any person other than him.
Okay.
So because I just want, my younger sister's married, she has 2 kids, so why am I not married? Why am I not having kids is the problem right now. So yeah, it's late for you guys.
Yeah. So we also have someone from Nepal. So I will ask him to like talk, say something here now, and then we can have the discussion again.
Hello, am I audible?
Hi.
Thank you, Dipa, and everyone else. Hi, I'm from Nepal. I'm a 29-year-old cis woman. I am a pan-romantic asexual, and it's just been a few months, about 8-10 months, that I myself have known about this orientation. Me, coming from my background, I'm quite privileged and still didn't know about it. So obviously, there's majority of Nepali people who do not even have that opportunity of knowing about this. So that is precisely the situation how it is here right now. So I have started this IG handle, Aspect Nepali, Nepali Asexuals, and all I'm doing right now is just putting out information. Just like Sana said, like there needs to be a space, you know, for other people to seek and to know that yes, there are other people of our community who identify in the asexual spectrum, so that they can feel like a comfortable feeling that yes, it's not just me. Yeah, this is valid, and this is something that I should not be ashamed of. I should accept. The thing is that it is actually considered good in a South Asian society that a child, from our parents' point of view, doesn't take part in like relationships and isn't, outgoing and meeting people of the opposite sex and all that, because they think it is a very good sign that their children are on the right path. They are not fraying somewhere or something like that. But so that's why everyone in my family thought that it's a good thing. I am being a very responsible and good daughter and all those things. But the underlying fact was that I never actually felt attracted to any other guy. And it was always on the back of my mind, what if, yeah, I am panromantic. I didn't know it then. I didn't know the labels then, but I knew that I had romantic attraction and gender didn't play any part in it. I couldn't care less if the person identified to whichever gender, but I could feel romantically attracted. I thought it was just a crush kind of thing, girl crush kind of thing, but it wasn't that. And in the back of my mind, even when I used to get crushes on guys that I knew or celebrities, mostly like guys that I knew, it was always there in the back of my mind that I couldn't be able to be in a relationship with them because anything outside this heteronormativity is
I think she froze.
locker room talks and all that. So I couldn't imagine any guy being in a relationship with me and not trying to get physical with me in that sense somewhere down the road. So it was always there in the back of my mind. So I never actually let that happen. I never would even make it that situation come to a point that it would be considered a relationship, I wouldn't be like letting them know that I had romantic feelings for them, because I knew that it was impossible for them to be in that role, and I wouldn't want them to be unhappy and give up those things for me. So before even the A started in the alphabet series, it would just stop, So I relate to that very much, and I'm not unhappy that I never actually let that happen, because that is for the best for them as well as for me. But it's just sad that I spent so much of my life, my time, not knowing about this orientation and not being self-satisfied and valid that yes, this is not something I only feel. I am not the only one who's abnormal and feeling this way. There are like, if not millions, like thousands of us who feel the same way, and it's okay to be that way. So yeah, it has come to this realization late. So even that's why I want to aggressively move forward in awareness, not just in the society, but for the ace people, so that they can know that this is okay. We feel that way too, because as we have grown in this cishet society and heteronormativity, every one of us think that yes, being sexually attracted, being romantically attracted, and having this guy meets girl, falls in love, marries, has kids, that narrative of things is seen as the norm. So anything apart from that is not seen as something natural or normal. So putting forth the ideas that these things are actually normal and are valid is activism in itself, I think. So this week has been a very important week for the Nepali community, for Nepali asexual community, uh, because of the fact that there might be many Nepali asexuals, but those are solitarily there. They have searched about it themselves, they know about it, but they have not been able to have this group bonding experience, because they don't know any other asexual person from the same community. So it's just this feeling of not being understood in our society. So I think a few of the asexual people from our community have come forward and have communicated with me. One of them is present today in this and I'm glad that she reached out to me and we are able to have this conversation as well. So I'm seeking this kind of comfortable communication with others, so that in real life I can go forward and make this association legit, like in India and Pakistan, because so many of the asexuals are having a meetup, a chatting, and guiding each other through this way, this path of realizing our own uh, individuality as well as sexual orientation, which is so new for our community because it hasn't been talked about. So that is the thing about the situation here. Regarding the definition and this situation about LGBTQ and queer community, those terms and that community is quite in a better place, rather than asexuality, as far as I've seen here. There are, if not more, at least two group of people who identify and are working forward for the improvement of situation. The LGBTQ community is actually a very well established and old organization, but they are kind of known as a little bit more strict organization, because they are not flexible and they are not inclusive enough, if I may say so. They do not like the term queer. They do not give much attention to trans men and trans women. Asexuality is even like out of the race, they don't even acknowledge asexuality, to be honest. I'm not kind of trying to point fingers, but I'm just saying it as it is, that's just the evident fact. LGBTQ community should be, in my opinion, should be inclusive, because it is in itself a marginalized and minority community. So if we ourselves are not inclusive enough for all of us, then what is the whole point of it, So that is one part of it. But there is a hope for our community as this new branch of activism has started, who are inclusive and take on the identity of queer, which is a very good word, taken it literally instead of like identifying it as a slur and a derogatory term. Of the words, can be used as derogatory and used to degrade people, but it's us who take that name who have the power, to reclaim it. So I think that is one part of it. I don't know where asexuals come in this picture, because frankly, there is no asexual in picture right now in this whole scenario. But in the coming day, at least till the next Ace Awareness Week, I surely hope that there is a possibility of us being a different entity as an asexual organization, and see through which community accepts us, the queer community or the LGBT community. If not, then we forming a separate society for ourselves and supporting each other would be well enough, I guess. Because the situation as of now is that not just the general public, the asexual people themselves do not know about asexuality, which is like very first steps in this whole long path, because we ourselves who fall under the asexual spectrum do not know that this is a valid and legit sexual orientation. So there is no point of having asexual rights, about facing aphobia, about working against acephobia, because there is no ace right now. So there is no acephobia as of yet. So these are the points that I think will matter in the coming future, but it just hasn't started here yet. And I am and I am very grateful that
It might seem like a really small thing because you guys have been like in this thing since years and years, probably, and have met and talked to other asexuals who share similar experiences to yours. But for me, it was really a very enlightening moment and like a relief moment. Like, okay, thank God I'm not the only one. So I hope in the coming days I will be able to coordinate more and spread awareness more and make an organization or an association of Nepali asexuals so that we can talk about and deal with these kind of issues. And it's getting quite late, so I don't want to drag this on and talk more. So I'll end it here. Thank you again for inviting me over.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining today. It was quite a last moment when we actually got to reach her. So it was wonderful for also her to join us. So we open the floor for discussion. So if you want to discuss, but before that, I want to just share like tomorrow we have the session at the same time, but tomorrow we will talk about the activism in South Asia. Mm, so, I will welcome Kate and Gemma to be um, with us if you have time. It will be wonderful if you also join us tomorrow. But no pressure if you cannot. It's totally fine. But I'll welcome everyone from uh, from South Asia to be here. And also I see Bauer was here but also left again. I think she is having internet problem, but yeah, I think it will be wonderful for everyone to be here. So so the floor is open if you want to discuss something or you want to.
I just say that if anyone wants to connect, because I've got the Pakistan Asexual Association Instagram and Facebook page, and I've got the Pakistani Asexuals group as well. So if anyone wants to connect with me on social media, please feel free to do so. It's Sana Kardar everywhere if you look it up. Otherwise, I'll share the group and page information on the um, Deepa's page.
Okay. Yeah, it will be wonderful also if we all share our group so we can actually join in and also that way we can actually increase our network. and
Yeah.
also support each other. Yeah, maybe we can do that too. Yeah, so Deepa, you were having internet problem, but it would be nice if you also say something.
Okay. Ami, firstly, I want to thank you because of she is the only person in Bangladesh who support me to come out, and what I am doing today, that's actually only because of you. So I really, really grateful to you, and I want to thank Raj for your app. It's actually a big thing for me. It makes lots of friend in my life. Now I just talk about my orientation bravely for some other friends support. So thanks both of you and all others. I really thankful to you for your time that all are like the Nepali friend who come out just now for the first time. It's really wonderful for us. So thank all of you.
Yes, thank you, Lipapu. And thank you everyone for being here today. It was wonderful to know about your experiences, and I'm sure it will help everyone to also, everyone mm, uh, to become stronger, and also they will also get a support from you all. So thank you so much. And today this was our first attempt. So if there has been any mistakes or anything, I hope you will consider it and wish us luck, and see you tomorrow. Bye.